G'day everybody, so I thought I'd do a quick update since I missed it last week on our little small space veggie patch. But, if you can't tell, it's gone. So I was having a few problems, the most of which being that this spot doesn't get any direct sunlight. It does get a little bit of sunlight, but coming into summer it's just going to be shaded out more and more by the ceiling there. So I decided to move it. So now it's here. Now the only real problem with this, and I also added a cheap trellis. So this costs $12 from Bunnings. It's just an expandable one, and I've just zip tied it here and here to hold it up. The only problem with that is being on the north side, it's going to block out the sun once we come back into autumn and winter. But I did notice that the tomatoes, everything was suffering with a lack of sunlight. So hopefully they'll be a bit better. And you can see the beans come up and they're extremely leggy because, there was no light. So most of these Bolotti beans came up. There was a few that didn't, that I did reseed. Apart from that, there's not really much else to update because, everything's just sort of been struggling. And I had planted a few seeds to put out another few pots, but then none of those had actually sprouted. So I have planted some more, and hopefully they'll start coming up in the next couple of days. And next week we can add those to the little garden as well. But hopefully by then everything will have recovered a little bit. Trellis, we'll add that to our total price. I think that takes us to $74. I could be wrong, I'll put it on the screen. But still going well. We did lose one of our little lettuces when I moved it, but we do still have one here. So I'm hoping two here. So I'm hoping to keep those sort of mostly shaded, and hopefully we'll be able to get something. And I thought today would be a good day. I'm gonna not quite due for another feed yet, but I'm going to dig in a bit more manure, and I'm going to put some mulch down. But we'll go through that in a minute. So I'm just going to add a little bit of manure, cow manure over the top from our bag of cow manure. And then I'm going to mulch over the top of it just with a bit of old cut grass. And there's plenty of other things you can use as mulch. If you don't have access to grass, you can just use shredded paper, or go to the park and get some cut grass after they've mowed, or collect leaves and just shred those up. When all the leaves are falling. It's not really the right time of year for that, but I have plenty of cut grass lying around that I used to grow potatoes in, so I'm going to use a bit of that. And that's also going to be good because it's not going to cost us anything extra. Alright, so I've got manure in there, that'll do, and the mulch will really help now that it's in the sun, just to keep all the moisture in there. So this is what I'm going to be using as my mulch, and that should be good. Before I add the mulch, I just wanted to show you sort of how this tomato here has been suffering. As you can see, it's got yellow leaves. It hasn't really grown very much. I mean, there's a little bit of growth there, but I have another one that was planted at the same time in the yard, and I'm going to go show you that, and just you can sort of see the difference, hopefully. Alright, so this is my other orange tomato that was planted out at the same time in the sun, and you can see it's green, it's not suffering, it's got lots of new growth, it's even starting to flower. So hopefully we can catch up with that one in a little while now that we've fixed that problem. So just before I mulch, I've also decided to add a bit of this comfrey just as chop and drop. So I'm going to cut all that up and sprinkle it around the same way I did with the cow manure. So if you don't have access to comfrey, you can use any green leafy material. And what it does is just breaks down into the soil and helps feed all the little microbes that you want living in there. But yeah, anything really, weeds, as long as they haven't started going to seed or flowering or whatever, you should be right. But I've got comfrey, so I'm going to use that. I'm just going to cut it up and I'll be back with you. So you don't really need any complicated tools, you don't need to spend a lot of money. I mean, I spent a bit more money on this than I was expecting, but the price of potting mix has gone up a bit lately, so what can you do? Just chop that up as small as you can get it. Just go and sprinkle that over the top. So you don't need to cover the surface of it with it. Just put a few bits down. Again, we're going to mulch over the top of it so it doesn't have to look pretty. Just there to provide a bit of extra life for all the little microscopic things living in the soil. Alright, and our mulch. Now just try and keep it away, especially from the small seedlings, because they can have those little roly-poly bugs in them. I like to live in this kind of stuff. You can see I've even got seeds in there. Oh well. So yeah, we don't want the little bugs in there that live in this stuff to eat anything. Because little seedlings like this, they'll just completely take out. So we'll just put down a light layer for now, in between all of the little seedlings. And we can always add more later. Now, this does still have a few seeds coming up, but they should be able to push their way through a light layer of mulch like this. I'm not too worried about them. It'll also help just to keep the moisture in here, especially now we're in the sun. Hopefully this little tomato or anything won't need replacing. Now that it's in the sun, it should get better as long as we don't kill it somehow. So that's probably good for now. I'm just going to give that a water in. I'm just going to wait for the sun to go down a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll be adding a bit more to this. Have a good one.